Welcome back, guys, to my podcast, Triggered with Lauren Drain. Today, we have a special guest, my friend, Jamie Villamor. She is a competitive pistol shooter. She's a cover model. She's an entrepreneur. She's a mother, good friend of mine. And we're going to get into some fun, slightly triggering topics. So
I love it. By the way, your freaking studio is amazing.
Thank you.
You've inspired me to up my game.
Thank you, girl.
My show. I was like, what?
Yes. So
Look at all this.
I got all these decorations from Home Goods. But actually, what's funny about that, Jamie, is when I walked into your home was very well decorated. So I was kind of like, you know what? I need to make sure that I have kind of a womanly touch to my studio because it's just very warm. Even this blanket right here. Because, on this show, I anticipate a lot of masculine energy to come out. We have triggering topics. We're talking about mental health. We're going to get into religion and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I need it to be a little bit feminine too sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it definitely is warm and cozy. So I love that.
Thank you. All right, so let's just get into it. So, guys, she's a competitive pistol shooter. She gets paid. Tell us a little bit about this industry. I mean, I don't think we fully understand. It's super dope that you do this. I want to know how you got into it, and I want to know how the industry operates.
So it's quite interesting. So what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think that I do?
I think that you can load a gun and pistol whip my ass.
Oh my God. I mean, I could probably do that. But it wouldn't work to any of our benefits. So yeah, I tell this story kind of a lot, but
there's got to be a backstory to why you got into guns.
Yeah, everyone kind of thinks that they're but it really is one of those things that kind of presented itself to me. I was cast for a show in Australia. So when my team came to me, they're like, hey, we have this show and we think you do really well at it. And I'm like, I'm not into reality. I don't want to I just don't want to do any reality shows, no acting, nothing like that. And they're like, no, you should really take a look at this. So I looked at it and I'm like, I got excited. Yeah. So,
were you doing acting before that, or just the modeling, or?
I mean, I had done some things when Ocean's 11 came around. But what
did you do for Ocean's 11?
I was, so my part got cut out. I was,
oh, hell no.
I was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
And they wanted, and Ocean's 11 ended up actually being PG-13, but initially it was supposed to be rated R. So I was in the strip club scene.
Oh,
but
interesting.
Initially I wasn't topless.
Oh my God. I need to see the scene for sure.
Well, you'll see it because Brad Pitt's in the parking lot talking.
Oh, of course he is.
Outside of Crazy Horse 2. And they didn't even end up showing anything about that.
You're in a scene with Brad Pitt.
No, I'm not. So when they tried to change, it was Steven Soderbergh that actually directed it. So I learned a lot back in that time. I was still young, but that was kind of my first this is not for me.
Okay.
And I had a few other small things, but I was the girl that the extras would read the lines to me because they're like, how did she forget the lines again? the extra would be and I'm like, all right, I got this. So that's when I was just this industry isn't for me. And it's the same with modeling. We show up and we think we're doing one thing, and sometimes they try and get a little more out of you, and it's not going to align with me. So it didn't work well.
Okay.
With me or for me.
Right. Okay. So
back to the shooting.
The shooting casting call.
Yeah. So I said, it's not for me, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, well, they're actually you get to go train with the special forces, the military.
Oh,
and they're
wow.
taking,
that's kind of cool though.
Yeah. Some of the top swimsuit and lingerie models. And it's kind of a competition for you guys. That's all you have to say to me. Okay. Competition. And I'm like, where do I sign up? Because I get excited. It's I want to learn something new. I want to be good. So I was like, yeah, I'll let me look at it. Let me try it.
So how old were you when this happened?
This was only 5 or 6 years ago.
You've only been doing competitive pistol shooting for 5 years.
Yeah. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you're the top woman in America, right? Or in the world?
No.
What?
I'm not the top pistol shooter in the world.
You're the hottest one, though. You're definitely the hottest one. And you would probably have the most Instagram followers for sure.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of amazing.
Are there any other girls that are on the cover of Cosmopolitan and Muscle and Fitness Hers? No. So, but you are.
Yeah.
And why are you?
Well, I mean, I started out in modeling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of something that always found me.
So you're like a poster child for hot pistol shooters.
They didn't like me in the industry, Lauren. When I first came in, I think it took a little while for me to kind of earn the
prove
respect.
Your worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that being attractive detracts from your, people almost think oh, she probably doesn't have talent because she just goes by her looks all the time? Do you ever get that kind of vibe from certain people?
I do, and it's really disheartening.
Yeah.
At times, because I just want to show up and be like you. And I think when someone comes into a room or is new to the sport, I'm excited for them. So I want to see them win.
Yeah.
But that's my personality. And a lot of people weren't like that. And I'm here to shed light on this sport because you guys are legitimate athletes and you don't get the recognition that I feel like you deserve. One of my best friends, he is the world champion. He's a teammate. His name's JJ Rakaza. I've never met anyone in my life that works harder than this man.
Yeah.
But we know who, a lot of the football players are, but these people are legitimate athletes.
Okay.
And we don't know their names and what they do. And he travels all over the world and competes.
Yeah, because you actually travel all the world and compete yourself.
I do.
How often are you traveling? Is this a lucrative sport? Tell us just a little tiny bit about the industry.
So if I was shooting for financials to pay my bills, I wouldn't survive.
Okay.
For me,
They cover your travel though for you to go to these.
So your sponsors, endorsement deals, all that goes towards your travel and your fees to shoot the match, because you can't just walk in and shoot a match. There's fees. We have equipment. We have ammo.
How many people are you competing against in a competition?
So I remember so I shoot primarily overseas, Europe and Asia, IPSC, and then here it's USPSA, which a lot of people have kind of getting out of because it's there's some shooting controversy. But yeah, so sometimes it's 1,000 people, sometimes it's 400 people.
How do you travel with a gun? Is that a thing? I don't think they were gonna let you get through security.
Yeah, I travel all over the world with my pistol.
Really?
I have CCW, so even when I'm not shooting competitively, I'm still traveling with my pistol as long as it's, within the guidelines and the law. But all you have to do is you put it in its case. You have your TSA's
lock on it,
locks, and you check it in your bag. And when you go to the counter, you let them know, hey, I'm checking a firearm.
Okay,
but it's not on my person.
So if someone was with a CCW, they can go to the airport as long as it's locked up in a box with TSA. They can take it on the plane. Mm-hmm. How many guns can you take on a plane?
I mean, I've taken 8.
Wow, I did not know this.
I have my rifle, shotgun, 4 or 5
That's very
pistols.
triggering. There's a lot of triggers on that gun.
Lauren.
So, wow, this is crazy. Okay, so you got a casting call because you were a gorgeous girl they were going to put on a set with some type of gun shooting scene. And so how did you transition from that to realizing you had the potential to actually competitively shoot at obstacle courses and things like that?
Okay, so when I first started, they were very hard on me, and I was not good at all. There were probably, I think it started with 100 or so girls. I made the top 10, but I only made the top 10 because every day that I would show, I would leave there sometimes in tears because they're like, you're awful, you're not good, can you not see the sights? What is wrong with you? Why can't you hit the target? But I had no prior training. Yeah. So no one showed me really the basics or from the ground up. They just threw us in there, gave us weapons, taught us, the primary safety.
Okay, so how many months did that process take?
That was probably 1 month, one or 2 months. And then within that period, I had sought out some of the best shooters in the world because I was determined to win.
To mentor under them.
Yes. I said, look, I'm casting for this show. I'm not very good. Can you help me? And I went into a gun shop, and that's where I met JJ Rakaza, and he kind of like laughed at me, and he was like, meet me on the range tomorrow. And I was like, whoa.
Dang.
And then
went straight for the top.
Yeah, from there it was I made the top 4. But after having worked with him, he just kind of, what I learned is it wasn't that I was a bad shooter, but I wasn't connecting to the instruction. So as soon as I got put with someone that taught me in a different way and showed me, I picked up on it right away.
That's awesome.
So that's all it really was, is there was that gap there in the instruction, which I picked up on right away with him. So I was able to properly manipulate like my firearm, do my transitions. And then he kind of opened my eyes up to the whole sport aspect of it. And I was like, wow, this is fun. Really cool. Yeah, I think I can do this. And he was like, well, you keep doing you, and I'll make some introductions, and we'll see where it goes. And then by the time it came time for the show, I'm like, I don't want to be a girl like shooting in a bikini, like a machine gun. Like that's not fun for me. Like I want to like learn, and
you want to actually know how to handle your weapon. And
like I want to get faster. I want to get better. I want to be quicker. I did want to learn how to breach doors and clear a room. Like that was all fun for me, but I didn't want to be someone that's just out there like a showboater. Yeah. I wanted to learn and get better.
Yeah. You got that competitive edge about you.
So that's the direction I chose. And then the show they were pissed. They sued me.
They sued you?
They came back and...
What do you mean they sued you?
They filed a lawsuit because they're like, we brought you here to do a show. And now I had started like a YouTube, and I had my Instagram, and they're like, you need to take down all that content.
Oh, they wanted exclusive rights to you. Oh, wow.
They're like, you got your sponsorships and that because of...
Oh, wow. They wanted to take credit for
with us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is ironic because none of those girls are even pursuing... Oh, and the network never picked up the show. So the show, you can't even find the show.
So did they drop the suit? They never got money out of you?
They never got money out of me. I had to like hire an attorney, pull down my YouTube, but it was to the extent that I couldn't even use certain hashtags.
Wow.
Like that's how crazy it was. But now we're friends.
Yeah.
So
it's sort of like full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. I love how life does that. Okay. So you and I have a few things in common. Obviously we're both in modeling industry. You've dealt with highs and lows of that. We both come from kind of religious backgrounds to a degree, and you've also shared with me that you've had kind of a tumultuous upbringing. Your upbringing kind of shaped the way you view the world, and to some degree you told me you've kind of just chosen to remain kind of a sober life. You don't really like to drink or do drugs and stuff like that. So will you kind of just share with us, like, I want to hear a little bit about your upbringing and how that shaped your worldview, and also you kind of shared with me that you had relationship issues that led to you feeling the strong desire to take self-defense seriously.
Yeah. So, born and raised here in Vegas. Both my parents were, they weren't sober. So they were like drug users.
What drugs are we talking?
Like coke. Mm-hmm. I saw that a lot, like growing up. But when you grow up in that, we think it's normal, right? So like as a kid, you just kind of think that like everyone, like all the parents. Were
you an only child? Were you growing up with siblings?
No, I had siblings. So it was my 2 brothers, and then at some point, like my stepsister had moved in with us when I was in elementary school. So just a lot of like chaos. Mm-hmm. Growing up, but
so you didn't know they were using at the time. They were using. You thought like whatever.
I just thought it was
whatever
like
they're
normal.
doing is normal.
Yeah, like my mom's like, I would take you to McDonald's and you'd put the straw up your nose.
Oh my God.
Like, no.
Oh wow, yeah. So at what point did that become like?
We can have those conversations now.
Okay.
Like, but because my parents are sober now.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But there was like a long period where I had, just to survive, like I had to like disconnect from that if I wanted something better in life.
Okay. And at what age were you realizing that mom and dad doing cocaine in the kitchen?
My dad drunk. Like,
yeah. At what point were you like, wait a minute, this is not a normal life, or this is not what I want for myself?
It was like, 6th grade with DARE. Do you remember the DARE program?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's when I was like, holy shit, my parents are like doing
the drugs that I'm not supposed to do.
Yeah, is this why no one's allowed to sleep over at my house?
Like you literally watch them like do you have visual memories of them doing lines?
Yeah.
In front of you? Mm-hmm. Did they do anything, like any weird behaviors? They're like, yeah, that's only something would do. Somebody would only do that on cocaine. Like,
no, like even to this day, you would think like growing up in an environment like that I would be able to like pinpoint like who's on drugs and who's not, but I can't. Okay. My brothers are a little bit better. But like even there was one person I was dating, my brother's like, he is on drugs. And I'm like, there's no way. I've lived with him for 7 years. I would know the signs. And my brother's like, you're an idiot. Like he's buying drugs from my drug dealer.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, sis, like he's on drugs.
Right.
So
what about, do they drink too? Or is it drinking involved, or is that affected you?
My dad does not drink anymore, but both my parents were like heavy drinkers.
Was there any like physical or verbal, like was there any violence around the house when you're growing up?
Yeah, so my dad was very like physically abusive to my mom. Almost killed my mom.
What?
And in front of us.
Oh wow, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. But that's the norm for us, right? Okay. We grew up in this, and that's what you think that's what's normal. The cops were called a lot to my house. My dad was arrested in front of us. He was abusive to us. My mom was abusive physically.
What specifically did he do that, like, you said he almost killed her? Like, what are we talking? Are you like knocking her across the room, or is there like a weapon involved?
He almost drowned her in the pool. Like he tossed her in the pool one time.
You visibly saw this?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So the time.
How did you react as a child? Were you withdrawn? Were you like, Daddy, to stop, Mommy, stop? Like, how did Jamie have to handle this? Did you kind of retreat? Did you just observe? Did you say, hey, stop, Daddy?
So there's only 2 that like really stick out to me, and I would say the pool was one.
Okay.
And that was when I was a little bit older, but where he got arrested. And my mom remembers like a lot more than I do, but it's so weird because I remember thinking like my dad's friend would come over and I'm like, oh, my dad's in jail, like he got arrested.
Just like it's a typical Tuesday.
He beat up my mom, and
Jesus.
So when my dad did get out, he was like, why would you tell the neighbors, blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, you think I'm like in 3rd, 4th grade. I think at the time, and I'm like, well, that's what happened. Like,
I'm just being honest, Dad.
Like you went to jail, like you hit my mom.
That literally happened. Wow.
So, but my mom, I remember she was flushing the drugs down the toilet as the police came.
Oh, geez.
So then that was like another fight when my dad got home. Like, you flushed all the drugs down the toilet, blah, blah.
How dare you?
But, she's trying to like protect him, but then she wants to live too, but it was just so
much chaos. So you grew up in chaos. Okay. And that's insane, Jamie. Oh my God. I mean, it makes sense that you're such a strong, independent woman now, that, you obviously had to survive a lot growing up. And it makes sense too, because, I've noticed some of my friends, I don't know if I call them sober friends, but friends that don't need to drink, or they choose not to drink, they choose not to do drugs. A lot of them have been exposed to drugs in a very toxic way, and not just for funsies once or every couple of years, but like in a toxic way. It's usually how it affects people. So it makes sense to me now that that's why you choose to be sober. And you also have daughters of drinking age. And,
I do.
And so how does that work? You're sober, your daughters are at drinking age. Do you have like a certain like way you want to raise them, or how you think that they should choose on making decisions like that?
I mean, they're raised, right? So they're I have one that is like more along my lines, like, and their dad drinks, and he's done drugs as well. I've never done a drug in my life.
Oh, wow.
So I always tell them, like, hey, if you want to know, like, I don't know. I don't know what it's like to do ecstasy or like mushrooms, but you know what? My brother's done all the drugs. My dad's done all the drugs. So if you want to know, go ask your grandpa. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
Like my brother, he was a meth addict. So I chose a different path. They didn't, but thankfully they're still alive. And my brother has been sober for 9 years now.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And he helps people with sobriety. So I say, like, what a fucking blessing. Like, I may not be able to share these things with you, but I know quite a few people that can.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of tap into that area. And then my younger one, she's a tequila drinker. So I'm like, you know.
That's so funny. How old are your daughters?
They're I'd rather not say, but they are all three of them are. My youngest is 21.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Jamie,
So,
you look stunning. You look like you look like you're like not even 31. So you look amazing.
So people open the freezer and people that know me, they know I don't drink, and there's like 3 different tequilas in there, and I'm like, that's McKenna's.
That's for her daughters. So yeah.
So, which you met her, right?
Yeah, she's a beautiful human being. She's in nursing school, right?
She is in nursing school, just
really,
like you.
Really beautiful human being. You clearly did a good job raising your daughters, and you definitely stopped that generational trauma, so that's good on you for sure. What else
I look at them, and when they're little, because yours is little, they we think like our parents are perfect, so I think they always looked up to me in a lot of ways, and I love to tell them now that it's crazy, because now I look up to you. Like I learned from you. So
I learned from Ari already. She's only 3, and I learned from her.
Just
wait. It is very crazy. No one ever told me that you learn from your kid, or that your kid will humble you, or show you innocence, or show you like purity. Like she shows me like how to like be uplifted when I'm not uplifted, or to take things so seriously. Like she's only 3, so I can only imagine what it's like to have grown daughters that can you can have full blown conversations with things. And so how is that? I mean, I'm not trying to step on toes or be too triggering, but I mean, I'm curious because I'm gonna have a daughter that's 21 or a teenager at one point, and obviously I was kind of a crazy rebellious teenager. What are like the pros and cons? Like, no, that's not the right question. It's like, what do you struggle with being like, for instance, you're so prominent in social media. You're so beautiful. You're a model. You have she has a stunning, most perfect body, guys. You have to check out her Instagram is insane. If you haven't, I mean, you have to go onto it. Jamie Villamor, she has an amazing body. And
Lauren, look at your body.
Well, but the thing is, I don't have as many daughters as you. Yes, and it's just, and Jamie, she freaking eats ice cream every day. I don't even understand how that's possible, but Jamie is stunning. So, so how does that work in this world that we live in? So we have daughters, right? You raise daughters. There's social media. There's like girls have body dysmorphia, and then you got like all the girls that they have to like compare themselves to, and then your daughters have to compare themselves to you and your perfect body. Like, how do you feel about this whole drama of raising girls in our very world of unrealistic proportions?
It's it's so interesting that you say that, because they look at me and it's completely different. I don't think they see what everyone else sees. So they look at me and they're like,
that's my mom.
Laugh. Like, they're just like, you're so skinny. And then I'll be like, can I go to the gym with you? And they laugh at me. They're like, no, you wouldn't last like 5 minutes in my class. Like, I was like, what is that supposed to mean? And they're like, they look at me, they think I'm like a frail old lady. I'm not even kidding. It's the most ironic
hilarious.
thing.
I love that.
I actually asked my daughter the other day, I was like, hey, can I go to class with you? And she started laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? And she FaceTimes my other daughter who's in Utah, and she's like, Mom wants to go to whatever class with me. And she goes,
isn't that a joke?
Yeah. And she goes, don't even do it, Mom. It's a waste of your time. And I go, what are you guys trying to say? Like, I'm not going to last. And they're like, you're not going to like it. And I'm like, maybe I will. So now I want to go to this class by myself.
What classes do they do? What fitness do they like?
Lauren, it's like a name of an exercise that I've never even heard of.
Pilates.
Like, no, it's not Pilates. I've done like the Pilates. I love like hot yoga, and they won't go to
what
that.
What are the young kids doing for workouts? Something I don't even know about?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm going to text you when I get home because
it's
now
probably
I'm
like a TikTok
her.
dance or something like that. Like it's.
But they're like running on treadmills and then doing.
Oh no!
It was almost like and then doing some boot camp shit, and then the other one's doing spin. Like
is it like Orange Theory stuff?
Maybe like some type of like style like that, but which. She's right. I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that either. No. Actually, do not sign me up for that at all.
And then the other one does spin class, and I'm like,
spin can be fun. You have to have the right instructor though. It can be incredibly boring if you have
I don't want to sit on a bike for an hour in my vagina. Like, are you kidding me?
Jamie, you don't want to. So Jamie, she looks fucking stunning, but she doesn't really work out. Like, I'm psychotic about my workouts. I have to work out. She, on the other hand, can get away with a lot, and that's pretty cool. But sometimes we low-key hate her for that because all of the rest of us are over here slaving away trying to have a good body. But no, it's you actually have been getting into workouts more. Didn't you do like 75 hard or you did that recently, right? Where you were doing 2 workouts a day?
I am. I'm on I made it to day 55 and I failed. So I restarted.
75 is impossible. I don't think I could do it. Like I literally love working out, and I will actually take days off because I'm sore and I'm tired.
So that's the thing is you have to pace yourself. So you can't overdo it, and you have to literally make a schedule. So when I travel from here to Italy, I'm like, how the fuck am I getting my outdoor in? And my assistant is like, we're going to have to do a layover in Salt Lake. You're going to have to
Oh my God. Your assistant scheduling your workout.
3 hours. You can get out, go walk there, get back in, do lounge, eat, and then I know.
Your assistant puts a lounge on your schedule?
Well, like I can eat before I get on the...
I need an assistant like that. Calling all like non-creepy professional human beings that are female, I need an assistant. Yes. Okay, back to
Let's get you like a good assistant.
I need a good assistant.
Why don't we get you like a hot, young...
I literally a hot young gay man. I mean, I'm down for that. That's fine.
Maybe, I don't know. Is that even?
I only hang out with hot. What am I only hang out with hot people? What the fuck?
Well, all your friends are really fucking hot.
Speaking of which, oh my God.
When I first met Lauren, first of all, she's like probably I don't know. You were probably like 8 months pregnant, and I'm like, who is that?
We met on a boat in Bahamas.
Yes, hottest girl on the fucking boat. Pregnant in a thong, and I'm like, whoa,
of course.
Whoa,
that was very funny.
Who is this hot mama?
That's so funny. I did wear like ridiculously tiny bikinis even while pregnant, and I was just like thinking, you know what? If I'm gonna feel like a beach whale, I'm gonna be a hot beach whale.
You are the hottest beach whale I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you so much. I actually really liked. I didn't hate how I looked when I was pregnant.
Did you feel hot?
I hated how I felt, but I didn't feel not hot. Does that make sense? I didn't know I was going to feel hot being pregnant.
Yeah.
I didn't. I thought
you're like the hottest pregnant person I've ever seen.
I've never seen you pregnant, but you probably would have been fucking hot as shit.
Thank you.
Jamie overwhelms me with her beauty. Whenever I run into her, I'm like, oh my God, I love you. I hate you. I love you. She's just always dressed so cute, and yeah, she's classy. But no, for sure. The pregnancy thing is weird. Like I knew I wanted a kid. That's it. And I was like, okay, I have to go through this really annoying process of being pregnant. I'm obsessed with fitness. I'm obsessed with abs. I'm obsessed with looking fit. So I knew that I was going to hate the pregnancy thing. But I surprisingly felt really attractive. Like I mean, the part where I didn't was before the bump. Before the bump, you feel bloated and you're like, nobody knows and it's awkward.
Do they think I'm chubby?
Yeah, am I chubby? I've eaten too much. I'm not working out. I got to put my hand on my stomach. It's like a whole thing. But then once your belly pops, you just got that shit all out and you're like, hi guys, I'm pregnant and I'm cute and I'm pregnant. So you have to love on me and treat me like a queen. So that was cool. But I never, it was weird. Like even with like Dave, like he always treated me like I was sexy as hell pregnant, which I didn't even know guys would be cool with that. Like I thought that you just automatically
don't have sex
and you just like have to pretend like you never cared about love or anything for 9 months. I was horny as hell.
I was just going to say that. I was so horny when I was pregnant.
Most horny I've ever been. Yeah. And I was just like way too.
Why?
I think there's just like so many hormones and so much circulation happening. You're just like,
so good.
Yeah. So that's weird. That's triggering.
Yeah. I'm feeling really triggered.
Are you triggered? Yeah. Is anyone triggered out there? Oh my God, they're horny pregnant women. Is it weird to want to be hot or to be hot while pregnant? I thought that was very bizarre. Like there was a lot of bizarre things I found out when I was pregnant. Like I think it's perfectly acceptable to want to be hot at all stages of life. First of all, love your body through all stages, which that was a very hard, weird time to love your body. And then after you have the baby, that's even harder time to love your body. But I think it's something we should talk about, and the women feel very, like some women don't even want to have children just because of the body problems.
Yeah, they're afraid.
Literally, you're missing out on a whole lifetime of a human. A whole interaction of a human because your body's going to fluctuate. And that makes me so sad because like our bodies are going to fluctuate anyways. We're going to get older, your
metabolism slows down.
Like shit still happens anyways. You're not going to have a human that you could literally like learn from and grow with. And like, I don't know. To me, that sucks. I think society really fucks us up with that.
I think that having my girls at such a young age, that was like my motivation and drive to like be better.
Really?
So 100%.
In what way? What way did you need to be better?
Because I knew that they see everything I'm doing. Like it's not about what I say, but the choices I'm making. So we can say all day long, like, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z, but they were watching me. Yep. So like even through the transition when I separated from their dad, I had to be careful because there were routes that I could take that would have made my life a lot easier. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, I have these 3 girls.
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility.
They're going to see me. They're going to see the choices I'm making right now. And
it kind of sets up boundaries for you. And
so it pushed me to be better.
Yeah, 1,000% I feel that way with being a mother. And yeah, it just makes you have to second guess a lot of your decisions because your decisions aren't selfish. They can't be just selfish anymore. It's going to impact some other human. And, you really have to like think about that because we're all heavily impacted by our parents. Yeah. So we know that it's going to happen to our kids.
And it's like, I mean, my kids are older, so I do feel like it's a completely different dynamic now. Especially with, the OnlyFans.
Oh yeah. Do you have OnlyFans?
I don't.
Do you have any exclusive page for any?
So I have an exclusive page, but it's not the exclusive that most people think it is. Like I'm not naked or nude.
What kind of content do you have on there?
It's like hunting. So like it'll show
like implieds maybe?
I do have some implieds, but that's on my Instagram too.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's typically
she has a hot ass Instagram, you guys. You have to follow Jamie Villamor. She's hot as fuck.
You.
Her top 3 like pinned things are all her covers of magazines, which I've always wanted that. That's freaking goals.
Let's do that.
I mean, I don't know how to I'm not a competitive pistol shooter. I don't know why anyone would put me on the cover.
Because you're an amazing freaking fitness person.
Okay, Muscle and Fitness Hers, go ahead.
Let's get her on the cover.
Contact me now.
Yeah, well,
that'd be fun.
Let's do that for you in 2023.
I'm down. I'm open.
Yeah,
it'd be cool.
I mean, so the whole like print thing that's like different now too. It's not.
Yeah, I know it was changing. Well,
it's like, not the way that it was. Like Playboy. I mean, the girls are like paying for covers.
I did know that because like I got contacted by Playboy. I think like they wanted me to like pay for something, and it was like because it was switching from print to digital, and they were trying to like do that crossover. And then they have like some of our the social media girls and social media fitness models and even just regular models, and they were and I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to pay for a cover, but because I don't know, it just seems strange.
Right. And then you do pay for the cover, and then that everyone else on that cover is like paid for their cover. Like, why?
Hi, look, I made it on the cover. I bought myself this picture of myself.
But then is there like, where is the criteria, right? Like, is it like anyone...
Is it just if you have money and you don't look like you...
I mean, I don't know, because usually it's like they reach out to you.
So how did you get your covers then?
Okay, so my covers were all based around like the sports aspect of that's how I kind of got,
because they kind of came one after the other. It was all in 2020, right?
It was
You were killing it. Everyone else is locked down. You're over there killing it.
Because this is the thing. I'll always say this. Like, I'm not going to be like the hottest girl. I'm not going to have the best body. I'm not the prettiest girl.
You already are fucking hot as shit.
Thank you, Lauren. God, can I bring you with me everywhere?
I will hype man. I'll go behind you with a megaphone like, make way, Queen Jamie.
You're so funny. So this is the thing. There's always going to be someone that's like hotter than us, right? Or has like a better body.
And that's not even, but hot is so relative.
I agree, because for, the 5 people that think that I'm pretty, there's another
the
5
people. She's like 1.5 million followers. I think it's more than 5.
There's going to be 5 people that are like, she's not pretty. I get hated on all the time. Like, you're not hot. You need a nose job. This is wrong with you. Blah, blah, blah.
Can't listen to the trolls. They're so awful. It's bad.
So, but I will say what separates me, and especially during that time, was my work ethic. So while everyone else was afraid to get out there and get after it and get to work, I took it as an opportunity to take any and everything that came my way.
Yeah.
So nobody wanted to work.
The hustle was strong and nobody else. Okay.
That opened the door for me, and I was on it all. Yeah. So my glamour cover, that wasn't even supposed to be my cover, Lauren.
Really?
Like, I didn't, what happened is the original model that was shooting the cover of that, something happened. She didn't show up, didn't want to travel. Oh. So the photographer, I had worked with him prior, and he was like, Jamie, I have this opportunity. Wow. We submitted you. Cool. The PR, they've given the thumbs up. They've approved. Do you want this cover? I'm like, I'm there.
Yeah.
I
seized the opportunity. Yeah. You seize the opportunity in quarantine. You're like, screw this virus.
Where am I going next?
Screw the virus. I'm going to be on the cover. So that's so cool. I know we don't have a whole lot of time left, and you're an amazing human, and you have so much to like offer, and I really connect with you on a lot of levels. Like I said, guys, we both come from kind of like a religious background. Your family came from like a Mormon family.
Oh no! So I married a Mormon.
So he came from a Mormon family.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the connection.
Into the church.
Okay, he's one of many children.
Yes.
How many kids?
8. So there were 5, and then.
What do you mean there were 5?
It started with 5, and then his cousin, her parents died in a plane crash, so they ended up taking her, and then they had like 3 more from. So they brought in.
Wow, that's a
crazy
like other
story. Kids, but there were 5.
So they kind of adopted more kids in, sort of, or took over
like family members.
So so how do we touch on this? Because you have this you had this tumultuous relationship. You were a young mom. And I think some of what you went through in your relationship led to you needing to really feel like you need to take self-defense to the next level. If you go to Jamie's house, watch out. She has a gun. She has a gun in every drawer. There's her home security is next level. So just be careful where you sit. Can you kind of let us
with your daughter, and I had to do like I was real swoop.
I'm over there with Ari, and I'm like, don't touch anything. There's guns everywhere.
Like I was like, hey, do you want to here, get comfortable in this room? Oh, let me get out. I know she's
remove this gun.
You're good.
I was like, I'd feel safe and not safe at the same time. Okay, so yeah, because this is serious. You went through some serious shit in your relationship, and I don't even know how to break into it. But it was really you've survived a story because you were a young mom, and you had to endure something that. What did you go through? What happened?
Well, which thing are you talking about?
I mean, weren't you exposed to abusive situation where you were, I don't know if you were threatened with a gun or held at gunpoint or something happened where you felt very threatened?
Yeah. So, my life was threatened at some point. It was, initially it was like, they were threatening suicide, and then the gun got turned to me.
Oh my God.
It went off into the neighbor's house.
So wait, he was holding a gun on himself first?
Yeah, so he was like threatening to take his own life.
In front of you, visibly, you could see him holding a gun and threatening suicide, and then he turned it towards you?
Yes.
And it went off.
And the gun went off. And guns don't just go off, Lauren,
right?
Like clearly,
there has to be a trigger.
Oh yeah, the trigger was
was activated into a triggered position. Oh my god.
And
oh my god.
Yeah. So at that point,
how close? How
there.
close are we talking? Are we talking like 6 inches, like a foot? Like
so. This is the thing that happens, like our fight or flight, right? So and
my fight or flight is currently activated. I'm gonna fight someone for sure. Okay, what happens?
It was survival for me. So it was, where are my kids?
Okay.
And how am I going to survive? And how am I getting out of here safe?
Where were your kids?
My kids were in their rooms. At the time.
How old? No, you can't say that, can you? How old were they?
Yeah.
Young age,
school
age?
Young. They were young. Like I want to say maybe 4 or 5, and then maybe 6 or 7.
Okay. Do they hear these gunshots?
You know what? If we had this conversation, they probably wouldn't even know, because it's not anything that I've ever really opened up and talked much about.
Well, thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, something that, it happened. We pushed through. I called his brother at the time because, like in the state of Nevada, once you like call the police, like someone's going to jail. So it's either going to be me or him.
That's very fucking scary. You knew that at the time?
I knew that at the time. Okay. I knew if I called and then growing up, like in the environment that I did. You already
had the cops called on your parents all the time.
Yeah. We knew, like I grew up in a very it was like very gang. So we didn't call the police. Like we didn't rat people out. But like
this just is we're just gonna handle this shit on our own.
Clearly in this situation, my first call wasn't the police. It was it was the family member. So his brother came over, and then at that point I remember like sitting in the bathroom with his wife, and she's like, "You got to call the police." And I called the police, and when the police came, they said. And this was the trigger for me. Okay. He said, and I'll never forget it because it changed my whole, this changed my whole life. He said, I just want you to know that 9 times out of 10 when we show up to calls like this, because I was like, he didn't hurt me.
Right. Everything's okay.
It was, he wanted to so they booked him on a 5150, which is like suicide. But they were like, we want you to know 9 times out of 10 when we show up to calls like this, it's not one body bag that we're bringing out of here.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I looked at him for a minute and I said,
wait, what?
So what do you mean? And he said, just know if he's unstable enough to take his own life, don't think for 1 minute he won't take you and those kids with him.
Oh my God.
And that was like,
holy shit.
For me, I was like, wow, it's not even about me anymore. Yeah. It's about them and their safety. Holy shit. Yeah, just making sure that I can provide something better than this. They deserve that.
Yeah. So they, in that moment, he was immediately went to because they take him to a medical ward or a psych ward pretty much, and he stays there for a period of time until he's deemed.
And then it's a blur.
Wow. But were you out of the relationship that day? You were like, that's it.
That was it. Okay. I left that, even though it's funny how our minds work. So even though I didn't know when he was coming home, if they were going to release him, what was going to happen. All I could think about was like being in a safe space. So I left with no shoes on my feet, got them, and I was...
Who did you stay with? Did you have family or someone?
Yeah, so I was working at a scrapbook store at the time, and I went and stayed with them.
Of course you were. Her house has a whole bunch of scrapbooks, by the way. They're all very beautiful.
Thank you.
It's like a whole room of scrapbooks. It's like a library of scrapbooks.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, I went and I stayed with that. And she was kind of like a big... gosh, she was such a mentor for me in that time. So I stayed with her and brought my girls there, and she was like a mom to me.
Wow. That's crazy. How soon after that did you start doing the gun? Was the gun thing the transition from there, or
no.
that just was 2 separate chapters of your life?
that was a completely separate chapter. Yeah.
Well, you've overcome a lot, and you're clearly a badass because you raised kids on your own and you got them out of a terrible situation. And not everyone can do that. Like, I mean, they say the statistic, I'm sure you've heard it, like in an abusive relationship, that it takes women or men or whoever's in an abusive relationship 7 times to have something really tragic happen before they leave.
Wow, I didn't know that.
The statistic is 7 times. Now, I don't know if that's the same thing with guns, but I do know if someone feels violated or abused, it can sometimes take 7 times of trying to get out before you actually physically stay out.
Okay.
So, yeah, like the whole cycle of abuse. So the fact that you left on that and you had the intuition and the gut and the, you know, to like, that's it. These are this is what I need to do to protect my daughters. Like that's very powerful.
I tried. Like I had quite a few like restraining orders, but you know, because you want to believe that they want to be better,
of course,
and do better, but it's just at some point you have to realize that I can't be rational with an irrational person.
Right. That's crazy.
And until you make those, I can't do it for you. So until you make those steps to get better and get the help you need, like I can't be any part of that.
Good for you. That's amazing. Wow, you're so strong.
But I always wonder if it wasn't for the girls, if it would have changed the dynamic. Would you have stayed, you know, being married for like 10, 11 years?
You were married.
Like that was
that was the
love of my life.
Wow. That's what's so hard too. I think children do provide another level of this is actually not just me, because I feel like we can expose ourselves to a lot more things, but with our kids, it's like, that's mama bear mode.
Oh yeah.
Don't freak with my children. Like you can screw with me, but you can't screw with my kids.
Yeah.
And there's something next level about that level of like protection and seriousness that it's like, no, this is mama bear mode.
And it's funny, right? Because like abuse so I'm always like curious and learning and hearing like other people's stories and how they navigated situations, because the dynamic's always different, right?
Yeah.
So you can, and you know, a lot of times I say it's not healthy to play the would've, could've game, but No, but I'm always learning for sure.
No, you're amazing. We're super proud of you. You're more than just a gorgeous body and a gorgeous face.
Thank you, Lauren.
And Jamie's an amazing human. She's really, really cool. She's a great mom. She's a good role model. And you know, like I really want to have people come on the show, and I want to show like people's hearts, their soul, their strength, because it's so easy. You know, you and I are both on Instagram. We've been in the modeling world. It's easy to be typecasted. Oh, they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. It's so easy for them. Like, you know, and it's kind of eye rolling. Okay, yes, I get it. But like, it's just, that's not all there is to us. And I want people to know that. And I want them to know that like, there's heart behind the person you see in a picture. You know, there's an actual soul, there's a person, there's someone who overcame something. And that when I see you, I know that too. I'm like, well, damn, she's hot, but she's also a beautiful human on the inside.
Thank you, Lauren.
And a good mom and a good person and a good role model. And, you know, I don't know. I want more people to see that. So hopefully we got a chance to show a little side of you. And Jamie also has her own podcast. I actually came on her podcast probably like a year ago.
Yeah, you were like one of my first guests.
Oh, I was.
Lauren.
So you're one of my you are my first guest. So that's full circle. But yeah, I came on her show. It was super fun and like confident. And you want to share your podcast with everyone in case they need to watch it?
So I have a podcast. It's called Dating Intelligence, and dating is more along the lines like a play on words. So I just feel like we should be dating in all aspects of our life, whether it's like our career, our family life, you know, wherever you're at in life, we should be like dating. And yeah,
that's very cool. No, you guys have a good time on your show, you and Chris.
We do.
You have some really fun guests, and you're very wise, but you're funny and you're entertaining. So guys, check out her show as well. And I could talk to you all day. This is super fun. I mean, I literally had a huge list, but I'm sure we'll have more chances because we both do our podcast in the same studio, so we'll have more chances to.
And I need to get you back on mine.
Yeah, let's
to hop on, and it'd be fun to get like, you know, a few girls in here and like,
yeah, let's do it. Let's all collaborate.
Powwow with us.
Wow, I love it.
Like difference of opinions.
Yeah, I want to hear. I want to hear all the tips and tricks on dating life. I don't know. I haven't been in that world in a minute, so I need tips and tricks, Jamie.
You're not gonna have any problems, Lauren.
Sure.
Like every time Lauren's like on my freaking story, people go crazy. They're like, "How do you know her?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Oh my god, yeah." So they go nuts.
That's so funny. funny.
So,
well, thanks for coming on the show, Jamie. That was absolutely amazing. You're super strong. You're beautiful inside and out. And I hope we'll have you again on the show soon.
Thank you, Lauren.
Have fun on your travels.
I will.
All right. Thank you, guys.